Hello, and welcome to this lesson on the list view component. In this video, we will cover the list view and some other related components and views. We'll also take a look at how to implement a list view in code in Android Studio. The list view component in Android is a view group that is commonly used for displaying lists of data or information. These views are highly customizable, so lists can consist of things like a list of contacts or a list of animations. The specific items in the list are generated on demand by an adapter component, which we will discuss more of shortly. That way, content can be pulled from a wide array of sources. Some of these sources can be things like a preset list of items, like maybe a set of configurations packaged with the application. Or the data could be more dynamic and stored in a local database, and then parsed for viewing within the list. This possibly allowing for editing, updating, or deleting of the data and syncing the list and database accordingly. Other applications are able to share data to the list view, for example via a content provider, to allow its data to be cross-application dependent. In many cases, the information will be updated from remote data, retrieved from a server instance or another external resource. There are also almost limitless ways to dynamically generate data and views for lists of data to be shown in a list view. The loader class and component in Android is commonly used in conjunction with list views to allow for providing asynchronous loading of data. In turn, they also allow for monitoring the source of their data to deliver updates upon changes. Because it is one of the more prevalent UI components in applications, in Android we have the convenient list activity class, which is custom built to display a list of items via a list view object which it hosts. To separate the data that a list view displays from the list view component itself, Android utilizes a separate component called an adapter to provide list views and other adapter views their data items. The adapter of an adapter view will inform its adapter view of information like the quantity of items it will need to display, the info on each item, and views to use for displaying each item. Some popular classes that implement the adapter class are the base adapter, a common base class that can be used for creating custom adapters for list views, grid views, and spinners. The array adapter, a derivation of the base adapter that is backed by an array of objects. A cursor adapter, another derivation of the base adapter that exposes data from a cursor component, which is an interface that provides access to results from database queries. And the simple adapter, another derivation of the base adapter that maps static data views defined via XML. Some similar components to the list view component are the expandable list view, which is a derivation of the list view. The expandable list view offers a two-level list as we see here. A list of items where each item can contain its own sublist. The spinner UI component, which we see here, offers an easy way to allow a user to select one option from a list of options when filling out a form or navigating through an application. Some of the more commonly used methods in the list view are getAdapter, which allows us to access at any time the adapter the list view is currently using. Once the adapter is retrieved, actions can be performed on it directly. When a list view is created, one of the first methods called on it is usually to set and define the adapter that will control the list view data. This can be done through the setAdapter method call. In many cases, it will also be necessary to detect user actions on the list view, in particular when a user clicks a specific item in the list. The setOnItem click listener allows us to easily create a callback for these events and deal with them respectively. Now let's take a look at a list view in action in actual Android code in Android Studio. In this example project for demonstrating how to use list views in Android applications, we have created a simple application that will show a list of planets and other planetary-like objects in our solar system. Let's start with the list itself. Here we have a simple string array stored as an XML asset in our values folder. We listed the items as part of this resource. We will then see how easy it is to access this resource in XML code or Java code. That allows us to easily edit and use lists of items by simply editing these resource files. Let's jump over to the XML for this example and see how to implement this list of items in a list view. In the layout for our main activity for this application, activity main list.xml, we have a simple list view, which is match parent for height and width to take up the whole screen. Also note that we have an attribute called entries. This attribute allows us to define a reference for an array resource that will be used to populate the list view. That means setting this attribute to our list of items will build our list view with those items and prepare it for being displayed. Let's run the application to see it in action. Here we see the list of items as we set them in our string array list. We can scroll through the items since they do not all fit on the screen at once. And we can also click an item. But we see that nothing happens since we have not set an on-item click listener yet. Now let's go back and see another way to organize our list and set an on-item click listener. We see that we have another item in this XML that is commented out. This is the same list view, but without the attribute preset to list the strings from the string array. So let's switch this implementation. Now we will have a list view with no preset items and an ID of LV main list. So let's initialize this list view in our main activity. Here we see a code snippet for initializing our list view. First we grab the list view from our XML, which has been loaded, and then we set an adapter. We note that this adapter is an array adapter, which can easily initialize an adapter from an array of strings. We pass to this adapter the Android resource of android.r.layout that's simple list item 1 to use for the UI of each row, but could just as easily design our own UI for each row. Finally, we obtain the array of strings from our resources by calling getResources, getStringArray, r array list object solar system, which is our resource XML file. Now that we have the list initialized, we set an on-item click listener by creating a new instance that we define inline to display a toast with the string of the pressed row. We grab the string by getting the adapter and then calling getItem, which in an array adapter will return that item from the original array, which in this case is a string. Now let's run the application after these changes. We see we get the same list that we had initialized from the XML earlier. But now when we click on an item, we see that we are presented with a toast with the text of the item. Thank you for joining us in this lesson on list views and adapters. Join us in the next lesson where we'll visit the grid view component.